Oh, hello everybody. So I was asked to do a quick video here on how I do the water slide labels. So just want to kind of walk everybody through the process. This is a laser tran. This is paper, decal, water slide decal paper. I've printed this on my inkjet printer, high quality, let it dry for about a half an hour, and then I've put 3 coats of Krylon clear acrylic. I don't have that can here in front of me, but it's their clear acrylic spray. Dries in about 10 minutes under normal conditions. I put 3 coats on, wait about a half an hour before each coat. What's very important here is in the first coat, very light. Just go real quick. If you go on heavy the first coat, the label will start to wrinkle a little bit and you get a not a desirable result. So go a little light in the first coat, let it seal up, and then you can go a little heavier on the second. So I use pages on my Mac. I follow the International Association of Pen Turners guides for tube dimensions, and then I add a little bit, 1 to 2 hundredths of an inch, little excess here to accommodate for the tube maybe being a different size, or me not being really good at cutting precision here. Also, you'll notice I have this taped down to my work surface. Very important. This stuff gets a little tacky at times and can really shift on you, and it shifts and that's it. Your label's messed up because you've cut into it, or you've cut into an adjacent label. So I just do it that way. I got this I don't know if you can see this on the video, but I have a strip down here on the bottom of my table. This is an actual metal stick-on tape measure that I put on my workbench to help me out from time to time. It just so happens to create just enough of a lip to push these kinds of things up against. Using an X-Acto knife and a square. Try not to drag the square too much on top of the label surface, as I don't really want to mar anything. Anything you do to your label at this point in time will be magnified once you put it in the tube and turn it down. So there's the label. So I just make sure that I've got done a good job of trimming, and this looks pretty good. So the next thing is gonna make myself a little water bath for this guy. I'm gonna send it swimming here in a few minutes. If you're like me, I've got a tiny little shop in my garage. I don't have real dust cleaning technology yet. Still working on that. So my shop gets quite dusty. Fortunately, I have a compressor that does a fantastic job of blowing the dust out of a little container like this. You get dust in here, I don't know how it works, but it doesn't matter what's in here, it manages to go right to your label, and you can't get it off once you've sorry, drop the label. Something else I'm really good at. It just sticks on there. You don't really see it till it's done. You put it in the pen, dry it, and finish it, and there you go. Yuck. All right, so we're gonna sink this here in our little bowl here for about 1 minute. We'll give you a bit of a warning. These labels are delicate. You can't work them too much. I have in the past overworked a label. Didn't really see it in the dried product, but once I got to sanding and finishing the blank, it got hot enough that the label actually started to crack. And matter of fact, I actually have this label here. You can see all the damage. This was not here until I started sanding, and the heat was generated and all these cracks showed up. And what I had done is I had really worked hard to pull the label together, as you'll see in a minute, to try to prevent the seam from being here, and apparently you just can't do that. So lesson learned. I leave this right here to remind me what not to do. I buy my tubes generally from Wood and Whimsy's. They do a really good job with this powder coating. Sometimes I'll also just paint. I can't use Krylon white paint. It's a little more difficult to get a perfect paint job with the powder as you can with the powder coating. So once we're done, and we've got about a minute under here, you're going to see this is why they call it water slide. The label just slides right off. So generally line the label up with the tube at the top as best I can, and this way it rolls on is easy. I just move the paper backing out a little bit and give it a good roll around, and looks like this one I measured really well, and you'll see the gap closes up real easy. If you have to spend a whole lot of time working on this, you probably need to redo. And then it just takes some time to work the air bubbles out. I work from the middle up and then the middle down. It just seems to be how things want to travel. And sometimes you just got to watch the bubbles, and they move however they want to move. A lot of times they want to move towards the seam. All right. And so there you go. We now have a water slide attached to the tube. Now this thing obviously just came out of the water. It's pretty wet, and it's going to take a little time to dry. On occasion, these edges will crimp up during the drying process, and you can just get those edges a little wet. And I put on some magnifying glasses, grab my X-Acto knife, and just carefully work it out and get it to lie down again. Every label goes on a little different. Every project's a little different. So as you can see, I just got a little rough-handed with that one, and it went a little crazy. But that's really it. So now I'm going to give this, I don't know, probably an hour to dry, and then I'm going to put it in the mold. I'm going to cast it and churn it, and hopefully it comes out well. And this is off to one of my customers. I hope you all found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a personal message or message me below. Have a good one.